Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 Fancast. As always, I'm your host, Havokpus, and I'm joined with my wonderful co-host, frozencreek.
Hello, everybody. Don't have much to add for D&D because I did make my character. He's a half elf bard, so apparently I'm just supposed to die a bunch.
Sacrificial lamb, frozencreek.
That's what it sounds like. I guess I'm just like a court jester or some shit. I'm not
It's
quite sure
very,
how it works.
it's very funny.
So I'll find out more tomorrow because we are recording this Wednesday night 9:15 ish, and Cloud9 Academy is playing in their mega week this week. So we will have an update on the first game at the end of the show because we are watching it live.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, but we'll get to that in a second. First, some quick news. World of Warcraft sadly did lose over the weekend.
Yeah.
They were playing. They got to Championship Sunday, or whatever it's called, and they were able to get to like the semifinals. They were playing in the losers bracket, but sadly they lost to the boys 1-3. I think looking at the standings, I believe like for North America it's Cloud9 and then the boys. So the boys are a fairly good team. I've seen. So it sucks that we lost, but I mean losing to the boys is whatever. I hope that next week or whenever next they play, they do. They can maybe play better. I feel like for them playing, it's usually maybe some micro mistakes, just because they literally play like the same team composition literally like every single week.
Yeah, I would like to take some of the fault for this. Apparently, I'm bad luck. Right as I turned on to watch my first game of WoW, they actually lost like 10 seconds after I got it on. So I
Frozen,
think
what are you
that's
doing
my
to my WoW
fault.
boys?
Yeah, I think that's my fault. So I actually did not see it because it ended right as I turned it on.
I unfortunately had to miss it, but hopefully I can watch the next one. But yeah, just an update to see how they were doing. Our first big thing was CSGO's team, our newly formed roster, performed at Blast Pro Series Los Angeles, and they they had a really good first impression. Frozen, did you watch any of their matches?
I actually did not. I think they were playing
Okay.
while I was at work.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I think the
Well,
first couple of games were when I was at work.
okay. Well, I can give you a rundown. They had some pretty good matches. Their first match was against Team Liquid. They lost that, but they were able to beat FaZe Clan. I think they also tied with like NRG and oh man, I can't remember the other team that they tied with. But they had a really good group stage. They were able to make it to the playoff round. They played against Team Liquid again, unfortunate, and they lost, but they played really well. You know, for a team that has only been around for like a week or two, and having very minimal practice time. Um, they looked really good. They looked way better and had much more promise than the CS:GO roster that we had before this, with Golden and Vice and Cajun B. So I think that this roster already looks like 10 times better, and our team actually moved up in the standings. I think God, like before Blast LA, we were like 326 or something, and then after the event, we jumped way up to like number 20 in the HLTV rankings. So, to give you kind of an idea of how promising this new roster looks.
I, yeah, I mean they could have just like went out and lost 016, but all of their games, and I think I would have been mildly promised.
Oh, for sure.
So
Tens was definitely the big standout. He was looking incredibly good, and I think that Tens was definitely the right pickup for the team.
oh yeah, I wish I got to see it. So
Yeah, you missed out on some good matches. It was fairly exciting, and it was really fun watching this really new look from Cloud9 really come into itself. So I'm not sure when they play next, but I'm really excited for whenever they do.
yeah, I'll I'll have to check that out next time. But yeah, I feel like even if we had gone out and lost every match like 016, everybody would have been like hopeful still, just due to the fact that it's a new roster. So I'm glad to see that they didn't uh, come out and play pretty well though.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm glad they had a pretty good promising performance versus like a really bad performance. So everyone, in the Discord and the subreddit was really happy about it. Everyone's really looking forward to seeing how this team can really grow together and improve. So it'll be a fun journey for sure. But I guess we don't have that much else to talk about for CS:GO, so we can move on to Overwatch. We actually have a bunch of stuff for Overwatch to talk about. So I'm going to kick it off talking about our contenders team. The British Hurricanes did play against Shu's Money Crew, and they did win 3-1. There's actually some interesting news that came out, I believe it was today. The British Hurricanes have moved Hattie, who was, I think, a new signing, but Hattie was moved up to the starting main tank, while Numlocked has moved to Envy. So, watching their latest game in mind, I think Hattie looked good. I think he actually looked maybe a bit better than Numlocked. I think the team maybe played around him a bit better. He doesn't randomly charge in as much when he's on Reinhardt, so there's not as much like precarious kind of like, oh, they better not like kill themselves when they, right after they do like a really good chatter or something. So they look good. The team is currently, I believe, around second place, I think, in the standings, second, third-ish. So still, top top three, top five. So that's good. And I'm hoping that Hattie can be a better fit than Numlocked was, because I think he wasn't gelling quite as well with the team.
Yeah, I will have to agree with you on that. I haven't watched much British Hurricanes, especially this year. I've kind of fell
Yeah,
out of love with Overwatch.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch them because every time they're playing, I'm out doing something else. Uh, so
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I don't
it's
even
like
know what time they
unfortunate
play at.
EU scheduling times.
Or they're actually like playing it in Europe though, right?
Yeah, they're playing in Europe. So how this works, I believe, is like um they all play like online for the matches, and then once playoffs comes around and they do playoffs and they get to like the final lever, then the teams go to a LAN event and then play on LAN.
Oh, okay. So I I wonder what the ping is like and everything. Then that's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is
I
cheaper
think I
though, I
remember
guess.
watching a game or two and seeing someone like disconnect for like a couple seconds or
Oh, woof.
something. Um, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. It's really weird how it's done, but that's just kind of how they have to do things.
Yeah, I mean it's cheaper. That's what Academy does, I think.
Yeah, Academy. Oh yeah, LCS Academy does exactly the same thing. So it's not bad. It's just kind of what they had to kind of accept. But
Huh.
yeah. But moving on to some very interesting Overwatch League news. There has been some information that has been distributed for the 2020 Overwatch League season, and it's actually very interesting. So we're kind of going for more of a NFL kind of NBA kind of style league now. So instead of conferences like we have, or no, instead of divisions, now we have conferences. There's no more stage playoffs. The regular season is from February to August. There's going to be 28 games per team. All regular matches will be available on the weekends. And we actually have sort of a breakdown of how the conferences are going to work. So there's going to be a Pacific and Atlantic conference, and then that is going to be kind of cut up into their own divisions, sort of like how the AFC and NFC function, and then you have like the AFC West or whatever. And so important for London. London is part of the Atlantic North Division. So the teams inside our division will be Boston, New York, Paris, and Toronto. So I think the only, if you're talking about playing inside your division, your only real tough competition is going to be the Excelsior. Inside our conference, we also have on the South Division Atlanta, Florida, Houston, Philadelphia, and Washington. So we're kind of avoiding a lot of the tougher teams on the Pacific side of things. And I think that maybe London may have a better shot at performing better and, going into playoffs and all that, since their only tough competition, it looks like, is probably going to be, if we're doing just playing within the conference, New York, Houston, and probably Philadelphia.
I feel like it is still a tough division, though.
Yeah.
New York is obviously no joke. They've been arguably the best overall team in Overwatch League.
I mean, they do choke in the stage playoffs, though. That's been their thing. Every playoffs
but they're still
they
like
play and they choke.
Overall, like probably like the best team in Overwatch League so far.
No, that is true. We can't deny that. I'm just saying that when it's time for them to really put up or shut up in sort of a playoff scenario, they always kind of drop the ball. So
yeah, that's true, but only a matter of time, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But do you have any real big thoughts on this format shift from what we've been doing to kind of more of like a pro sports, like an NFL type deal?
I think it's a dope idea, and I kind of like how they decided to put a whole bunch of teams at one site every weekend. So there'll be what six teams or 6 games at every
I
weekend
think so.
at one
Yeah, I
site.
think they're wanting to
Saturday,
push a
Sunday.
lot of homestead matches.
Yeah, so it'll be Saturday, Sunday, and then like a couple teams will all go to one site and play.
I think so.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of logistical things to go about that too, because especially with London and Paris, you're gonna have to be flying across the Atlantic Ocean a lot, or something.
And shit. Yeah, that's can be complicated for work permits and stuff.
Yeah, I was talking with Emma. Shout out to Emma, by the way. She's a C9 Discord mod as well. Does she hangs out and helps a bit with the getting information for the episodes. I was talking with her about this, and we were kind of in agreement that like there needs to be more European teams and maybe like a South American kind of branch as well, just to like make it more of a global kind of league, as well as reduce kind of like the long travel times for our European teams. If you're only having 2 European teams, that makes it really difficult with what they're kind of wanting to do with this format. So if we had maybe like an additional like 4 European teams, that would make things a lot easier.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, yeah, there's still a lot of traveling through Europe too. Like, it's not a short flight from London to like France. Isn't too bad. But I guess how far east they go, it depends. But like,
Oh
I
yeah, for
still
sure.
really like the idea of what they're doing, because no one's really tried this with a video game yet. So it is I'm excited to see how it goes because I want this to happen more frequently. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. I certainly like it. I like sort of the more global approach that's getting, where we're having teams and they're going to different parts of the world to, to play each other and to sort of engage in a lot of different fan bases and everything. I think it's great. Uh, Logistically, I just hope it kind of works. It's definitely its own kind of nightmare, I guess. But we'll have to see how it works out next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't die, but yeah, because I do like the idea. But
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, have they given an update on the role locking, the 222?
I have not found anything yet. I believe they're supposed to make a big announcement tomorrow, July 18th.
That's
So we'll
way
probably
too fucking late.
yeah, we'll probably see by then exactly how the stage 4 format and whatnot is going to change, if any, and how that is going to go. We still have like the rest of this week and then like next week to get any news.
I
But from what I've
I
seen, all the speculation points to there will be some sort of rule lock.
Yeah, it just seems weird to announce it less than a week before the next stage starts. Or I guess a week before for this stage starts because that completely changes the meta.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
the
would
teams
assume
know
that
already.
I would assume that they would have told all the teams beforehand so the teams can start scrimming. I would be shocked if they didn't give the teams foresight into the changes that would be coming for the next stage so they can prepare.
I would hope so because if not, that's super reckless. But
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely not the way that you want to kind of run your league. Um,
yeah.
I guess talking about London in general for stage 4, just kind of talking in broad strokes, this is definitely, I think, a make or break stage for the London team as it currently is. Because if they don't make it to playoffs, if they really struggle, I can definitely see some big changes coming in through the team, both, staff as well as player wise, just because how this season has gone has not been very good, on the whole, as well as, you were the season 1 champions, and now you're going from championship roster that looked really good to a team that seems to struggle every week or so to get a win.
Yeah, uh, I think it has been a huge downturn in how the team has been performing. But I will say that we are tied with the last team in playoffs, so we're still in a striking distance to make it there at the very least. I feel like not making it. Um, ex- Excuse me. I feel like not making it would be bad. Like, I don't want to say like a disaster bad because of how the meta evolved coming into it and how it obviously didn't like suit us at all. So it's it's not hugely surprising, but yeah, they've still been like hugely underperforming.
Yeah, I will
Even
agree.
despite that.
I do want to give them the caveat that this is a meta that is very uncomfortable to play, especially for someone like Birdring, or I would have to say probably Bedosin, who they really operate in sort of like this comfort kind of circle, and this meta just doesn't allow them to operate in that with all. Bedosin's having to play like Ana a lot, which he's all right. He's good at Ana, but it's he likes to play sort of the aggressive Zenyatta, and he's he's been kind of struggling with that. And Birdring's having to be on like Brigitte duty most of the time, and he's not a support tank player. That's like a completely different way that you have to play versus him, who is this really good like hit scan DPS player, and I can only imagine the practice that he has to do to make sure that not only he is still up to snuff on playing Widowmaker and whatnot, but then as well, I have to practice also playing Brigitte. I can see them though maybe rotating him out for guard, just because they tried to put Prophet on Sombra, and Prophet and the team just looked too uncomfortable. So I could see maybe some rotations coming out depending on what the stage 4 meta shakes up to look like, but we're kind of still a ways off.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it is 2-2-2, so we can see the Tracer come out again, because I feel like that's all I'm missing it in my life at this point.
Yeah, I definitely want to see some more Prophet or Birdring. I want to see the Prophet Birdring Genji Tracer again, as well as see them, like bust out kind of like the Hanzo more. They made a killing off of that in the playoffs for the championship match. So hopefully stage 4 will change for the better, but we'll have to see in a couple of weeks. But moving on, Frozen, we can actually talk about the Academy match a little bit since it looks like it's wrapped up.
Yes, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. It's been a really long week for me, so I just got home as it was getting towards the end. But it was a weird draft from both teams.
Yeah, it
Definitely
was.
played. Definitely is our new addition to the Academy team. Did we trade him for Keith?
We did a swap of, we would get Deftly and Keith would get Golden. Keith would go to Golden Guardians. I think Keith is going to be playing on the Academy team for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
I'm still fuzzy on that because I was assuming that he would be like starting, because Deftly was starting for Golden Guardians, wasn't he?
I don't think he was. Wasn't it?
Golden Guardians is doing. Oh no, it's FBI and Huhi.
Yeah,
I think
he's
that's
the support,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. It's weird. First of all, that Huhi is starting as a support. That's very odd.
And he's doing fine.
Yeah, that's another. I didn't expect him to be okay.
I mean, it's probably a little bit easier, like from like a mechanical standpoint, so we can worry about the game more. But
yeah, I would imagine that being a support player, transitioning from mid to support, you're not worried as much about your mechanics and trying to carry the game, but more keeping your team alive and making sure you have enough vision to make good decisions. So he probably does have a bit less stress to worry about. But this trade was really interesting. It kind of came out of the blue, out of nowhere. No one really expected it, but it's cool to see Deftly back in C9. He was on Cloud9 for the old Cloud9 Challenger team, and he crushed it. When he was there, he looked good in this game. He played Ezreal really well. Licorice was also playing, which we'll talk in a minute about what's going on with that. But the team looked really good. They beat Optic Academy, and it was it was a pretty good starting match for Deftly.
yeah, the draft was pretty weird, so don't know. It was Cho'Gath mid for Gold and Glue. Licorice played, so I guess that is probably the highlight of the game. But Dardoch had Kiana, and then it was Diana mid for who was it? Echo Fox?
No, it was for Optic. So
Optic. That's what
they're.
yeah. But
I'm blanking on their mid laner.
yeah, I am too. So who do if 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 Licorice plays in an academy game, who do you think is going to be playing top lane for us this weekend?
Well, that's a good question. I really can't give a good answer, because it could be that Licorice is playing an academy to maybe get Deftly kind of like like comfortable in the C9 atmosphere, because they did play on E United for a while. It could be that Licorice is kind of like wanting some warm up games so he can get ready for the weekend. Now that it looks like he might be back from his injury. It could be that the team wants him to kind of take it easy so he's not playing very stressful super intensive games, and Kumo will play for a bit longer. I feel like it's kind of up in the air, and we won't know until we get to Saturday and see who all is playing.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the rule works where you can only play 3 games in a weekend. If there's a super weekend for the academy team, because then there's 5 games as opposed to 4.
Yeah, that's also weird.
But I have a feeling that we're gonna see Licorice for the 100 Thieves game this weekend, and then maybe Kumo for the CLG game as they kind of get back up to pace, because I'm assuming he didn't play that much last week, and we know he didn't play the week before, so I'm assuming he's warming back up and getting back up to speed.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. And we'll talk about the upcoming matches in a little bit. But right now, I really want to talk about last weekend's games because they were weird.
Yeah, we had multiple games where everyone took a shit for a substantial amount of time and also played well.
I think the Echo Fox match bothered me a lot, and I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about this first because we drafted in such a way that it was basically burst everyone down or don't do anything at all. And watching the game, you notice like as it went on, everyone's kind of scaling up, but then Cloud9's burst is getting falling off more and more to where it was just they had no relevant damage. And I think that really it was just that if Reaper had instead of put Sneaky on Ezreal, you put him on the Sivir and it's fine. But that didn't happen, and Sneaky didn't itemize for more a sustained kind of build. He went with the more AP bursty kind of thing. So we just couldn't finish fights, as well as this was actually another game that we started Blabber in, and we lost to a bottom of the standings team. The first time we lost to a bottom of the standings team was when we played him against 100 Thieves. So I'm starting to see a pattern, and I really hope we don't start Blabber anytime soon for more LCS games.
I don't even think he played that poorly, all things considered. This game, I know the 100 Thieves game, he wasn't ideal, but he did a really good job putting out pressure in the beginning of the
No,
first game,
yeah,
but then they kind of just like didn't do enough and just got outscaled.
yeah, and it's I don't want to blame him too badly because it really wasn't his fault. It was more of a drafting, you know, team compositional issue. Echo Fox's team scaled way better than C9's did. My issue was more that he did not. If you look at how he played J4 that weekend versus how Svenskeren did it against TSM, you'll see that Svenskeren was making, I think, maybe a lot better decisions late game. I think he was able to play a bit more, cerebrally. Um, he was hitting a lot of really good important knockups, and I think Sven has a bit better understanding of how to play, especially when you're behind or when it's really late in the game. Versus Blabber is still kind of young, and I don't think that Blabber has the instincts that you kind of need. Um, and so he just kind of struggled as the game kind of went on. Also, just to kind of add another talking point, C9's comp also hinged on everyone landing their skill shots, which they hit nothing. It was honestly kind of amazing.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Though I will say that I feel like in my gold games, I see people dodge Vigar stuff better than in pro. Like
His
they might
Vigar
not.
and
What?
oh, I was just gonna say that like Vigar and Lux crowd control spells are actually fairly easy to dodge, because with Vigard, it's either like you see the indicator and you have enough time to either run away, or you just stay in the center and you don't get stunned. And then for Lux Q, it's not that fast of a skill shot, so you can kind of see it and then sidestep it kind of easily. So they were using like two kind of telegraphed, kind of easily like seen and like dodged abilities. So it made it that much harder to kind of work with when you're like, okay, our comp hinges on us like landing the binding and landing the cage on top of it, so they get stunned forever and then we burst them down. And when you're like just not hitting those because everyone's dodging it really easily, it makes it like that much harder for you to win.
Yeah, and I feel like they drafted themselves into a certain win condition, just didn't like execute it very well. So, and then Echo Fox's comp was a lot more dynamic in the sense that they had like Corky and Gangplank to help them scale late game. So I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
impressed with the fact
yeah,
that
I
we won.
definitely agree. It's it was just kind of an unfortunate game, and they didn't have kind of the right tools for a game that went on longer than it was supposed to for them.
Yeah, and I wasn't that impressed with Kumo that game. I either he had a ton of jungle tension, and he lost lane still just based off farming gold. So he what's his face? Vulture? No, that's not right.
Viper? No,
Viper.
on
Solo.
Blacklist.
Solo.
Solo, yes.
Yeah, Solo was like 1-4 or something, and he was still up in farm and gold like 20 minutes into the game. And Kuma was playing Jays, so
To be
not ideal.
wasn't Solo playing Gangplank though?
Yeah, but he was also like dove like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, to be fair, like when you're playing a Kleptomancy Gangplank, you do get a lot of money. So even if you are down in farm, you're maybe not really down in farm. They probably weren't tracking all that gold that well, or that closely. But it definitely is unfortunate that we lost the Echo Fox. They did kind of turn it into a teachable moment, kind of for when they played against TSM the next day. They took the Sibber instead of the Ezreal. They had a more team fight ready top laner, so they had kind of some burst, but it was more team fighting. And if we lose early, we just have to dig deep. We just have to dig our heels in and then scale to a point of TSM can no longer fight us, which is essentially what happened that game.
Yeah, we were down 7k almost at 20 minutes. So we definitely played the long game there, and we probably should have gotten beaten a bit based off that.
I actually watched Papa Smithy's VOD review of that game, and he definitely made it a point to like Acadian getting canceled out of the Rift Herald was definitely a big play that helped C9 win, as well as drafting the Vladimir, drafting the Aatrox, so you're having this kind of healing and this really good kind of nice AoE team fight, sort of composition against something that is very like poke heavy, and they'll do really great early, but will start to really fall off as the game goes on. And we kind of saw that. It was just that TSM was a bit accelerated because we did kind of the thing that we always do, where we'll have like a late game team fight comp, but then really try to force a point and try to fight early.
Yeah, and it really did come back to haunt us in many ways. And what I said in the post game chat and stuff was like everybody played like shit for 10 minutes this game except Sneaky. I think like everybody
Sneaky
played 10 minutes of just bad.
Yeah, the only thing that I have to criticize Sneaky for was he almost threw us the game by greeting for their red buff and him
Yeah,
dying. That
yeah,
that that literally upset me so much because I saw him do that and I saw him die, and I'm like, well, thanks a lot, Sneaky. You threw us the game because you did some bonehead play that you really had no business doing.
yeah. But at 20 minutes, Kuma was down 27 farm. Sven was down 30 to farm to fucking Sejuani. Uh, Iniski was down 11 and Sneaky was up 5. So I actually do think he played well. So I'm happy to see him show that he still got it, even if he did play into that lethality virus again.
Yeah, and there is an interesting stat that I do want to throw out. Someone from Reddit tried to compile sort of like all the data from the bot lanes to kind of see like who's performing the best, and it actually turned out that Sneaky and Zazel were at the top in terms of like gold at like 15 minutes, and I think maybe a couple other stats. So it was really interesting that our bot lane's actually been performing fairly well, especially into losing matchups and having to have less jungle pressure because Svenskeren has been paying more attention to mid and top lane. So that's kind of an interesting stat. I think that we could maybe do better if we just gave Zazel better comfort picks because I really don't think he's feeling the Lux, and I think that the team's kind of struggling at points because he's not super comfortable with it.
All right, I'm not 100% sure what the thing you're talking about on the subreddit is, but I'm looking at the Oracle Elixir, and Sneaky is dead last in gold difference at 10.
I, they may have also combined the two.
Okay, yeah, because he's negative 397 gold
It's on
difference.
the League of Legends subreddit somewhere.
Oh, okay. I probably won't find it then. It's
Yeah,
lost. But I mean, we have had our weaknesses this year, so him showing up again was nice. I do
yeah.
think that the reason that we won that game was because Sneaky went God mode, or not Sneaky. Svensker and I went God mode like around 25-ish minutes. His engages it were insane.
Yeah, exactly. Svenskeren is really making a campaign for him being MVP this split. He is playing so well, and he is playing games very smart. I think especially this late in the season, I think you have no excuse. Just play Svenskeren both games. You cannot afford to lose a few more. Reaper actually was talking to Avali at the start of the match, and she asked like, "Well, so what's the thinking behind starting Svenskeren over Blabber?" And Reaper's like, "Well, we want to play Blabber Saturday, but Sunday we have to win, so we played Svenskeren." And at this point, I'm just like, just take that mentality, take that thinking, and just apply it to every game for the rest of the split because I think you just need a bit more security, and Svenskeren brings a lot of that because he is the superior jungler.
Yeah, I think you can kind of tell that he does want to give the cat academy players a shot, and I feel like of all of them, Blabber has still kind of earned it the most. So I don't mind seeing him a couple times, but Svenskeren's in middle of in in MV in MVP season, so I wouldn't mind seeing him a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. We'll we'll have to see. This weekend we are playing against 100 Thieves in Counterlogic Gaming. 100 Thieves is going to be Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then Counterlogic Gaming is going to be Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
I know
So,
CLG is 4 p.m. on Sunday Eastern Standard Time. For
did
me,
they
it's
switch it?
saying. No, that's what it's
I'm
saying
looking
for
at.
me.
Oh, heck. Well, I was looking at my Strafe app, and it looks like this app is a dirty liar.
I think it Must be because the Low Esports website is showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, forget what I just said. Um, look like a fool on my own show.
Sorry, man.
Well, anyway, what are your expectations for this weekend? Who do you think will be playing first of all, and then how do you think games are gonna go?
All right, if we're memeing, we're going to lose on Saturday and beat CLG. But actually, I'm hoping that we just go 2-0 because again, it is 2 games that we should win. CLG can tie us for second place depending on what happens on Saturday if they were to beat us, and then they would have the tiebreaker, wouldn't they? They beat us earlier in the split.
I'm not sure. Their tiebreaker rules always confuse me.
Did they beat us earlier in the split?
They no.
No,
For TSM.
I know. CLG. We beat them.
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we beat them.
Yeah, we did. I'm looking at it right now. So I'm not sure how the tiebreaker would work out, but we kind of want the bye. So I'm hoping that we just go ahead and win in both games.
Yes. Get Svenskeren in. I say I'm not sure for top lane. You can put Licorice in if he's feeling up to it, but for sure put Sven in and just play smart and play play right. If you can, don't let them get Yuumi. If you do give them Yuumi, I swear to God, TSM did a radical strategy last week, Rose, and that was build healing reduction items against champions that have a lot of healing. It's not that difficult, I think, to just have some foresight and at least buy the Executioner's Calling like as your first back, especially if you're in bot lane, just to mitigate some of that healing at least a tiny little bit.
Yeah, I saw someone do that last week.
It was in the TSM game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Broken Blade bought Executioner's Calling like first back to help deal with Aatrox and the amount of healing that was coming through.
Huh. I also saw an ADC do it at 1.2, but I don't remember who it was.
I may not have watched that match, but it's definitely a smart thing to do.
Yeah, it might have been an Asian game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could have been. But still, it's something that you should definitely think of doing when you're against Yuumi, for considering just like how broken her healing is.
Yeah, I'm hoping they nerf her eventually too, because
did they not nerf her in the latest patch?
I'm not 100% sure. I've mostly been playing Teamfight Tactics still.
A man of culture, I see.
Yeah, so rank came out today, so that's what I'm doing after the podcast.
Okay, sick. Well, we'll have to see. I'm just looking for smart drafts. Give us compositions that work, and don't give the enemy too much, and then just in game play smart and play safe. I guess I just want if we can go like 2-0 this week and maybe next week, I think that'll be really great for us in terms of the standings. We're probably tied with second with somebody, but I'd like us to get that bye just so we can be better prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we might see all 3 top laners play a game in Academy this week.
Oh, well, only 2. Jukes has announced that he is going back to Brazil. His time with
split.
No, I think it's pretty much like this week or something. Like Jukes is no longer playing with us on a professional level. He's going to go back to Brazil, I assume, to be a streamer under Cloud9 still. But yeah, he's it looks like he's not going to be playing with us, as a professional player anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it is kind of sad.
I,
some people were kind of like they didn't really like the Twitch chat because it had gotten kind of crazy. But Jukes as a personality, as a player, I actually really liked him, and I thought
yeah.
he brought a fresh audience as well as he brought some pretty good skill to our academy team. So I really like Jukes, and I'm kind of sad he's actually gone.
Yeah, I always liked him too, so that kind of sucks. But I guess, and like there was probably gonna be a spot for him to start next year, but
Oh, for sure.
I guess it
Eh,
is what
or
it is. Oh, we'll bring someone else in.
yeah. I can't think of anything else to really say. I would to predict this weekend. I would say 2-0, but kind of how last weekend went, a lot of my confidence has been erased, and I'm not super sure how it's gonna go anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm trying to be hopeful though.
Yeah, I definitely want. I really want it to be a 2-0, but we're just gonna have to see if C9 shows up or not. They've been kind of hit and miss sometimes over a few weekends.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-0, even though that's what I said last week too.
I mean, I said it too. I can't really blame you. You know, we kind of predicted the same thing, and then C9
That's
was just
true.
like, "Oh, you're pretty 2-0, are you?"
Yeah, that's true. But I'm confident this weekend, or
Yeah.
something.
Well, I have nothing else to add if you don't have anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay, great.
All
All
right,
right. Well,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
you go.
Okay. I was just gonna do the outro. So, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure to follow us at C9 Bodied, and we'll see you around.
Bye, guys.